Hey guys, Toxic here with Savage on Tactics with Toxic, and we're finally doing a tactics video. We've been talking about it for a while now, and we finally got our act together, and we're gonna be talking about fast attack today. So, Savage, how you going this evening?
I'm fine and dandy.
Excellent, excellent. Oh, sorry for the poor lighting in my room, but it is 4 a.m. But
No excuse.
I know, I'm sorry. Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we are talking about fast attack, uh, and just going to go over about some methods of using fast attack, how we feel about fast attack. I mean, at this stage in 40k, fast attack is there's a huge spectrum of what is and what is not fast attack. Back in 5th edition, you had things in fast attack that only had 6-inch move. Uh, you know, I'm talking about base and cavalry. Now they have a 12-inch move. So there's this. You go from having cavalry to a flyer, all under the fast attack heading. So, Savage, just initial thoughts on fast attack for you.
Um, I think that they're probably like my most used what would you call it? Like optional uh unit
Yeah, that
force
makes sense.
organization thing. Yeah, trying to get the words around it. But yeah, they're probably the most used one that I would use. There's just so much good stuff in there.
Yeah, it's surprising that you kind of say that because I would kind of go the opposite and say that it's it's probably my least used. I want to say it's one of those ones that I look at it, and because when you look at fast attack choices, I mean, in 6th edition now, I've said it before, it's all about capturing objectives with your troop. It's I look at fast attack and I'm like, well, what are they going to be doing? And I guess that kind of brings us into another thing that we're going to be talking about is like, what actually do fast attack do? What's the point of having them? And the way that I kind of look at them is, they don't score unless you're playing. There's one mission that lets fast attack score, I think, unless you're playing that mission. Can't think of it off the top of my head. And so they really have to be doing they really have to be killing. And I guess the way that I kind of see fast attack is a fast unit that can break your enemy's lines before your main force gets there, basically as a distraction or a harassment unit. Is that kind of your thoughts on it too, or?
Yeah, I kind of go through like I guess I'd use like scare tactic kind of thing. I just rush everything forward. Like try not to just waste the unit by just throwing them at them. Like have some sort of
So what unit are
like
you actually using when you're talking about that you use mostly fast attack? What do you personally use?
in chaos I use like your Helldrake and the Raptors. I find they're pretty amazing in the new codex. In the old one they were meh for the points that they were.
So you
And
reckon that
then
fast attack are getting better in 6th edition?
yeah, like
Because chaos, I mean, I can't imagine taking a list with fast attack. Um, with chaos in 5th edition in their 4th edition codex. I mean,
oh yeah,
maybe some Nurgle bikers, but I mean, Raptors were kind of useless, and bikers, even when they were Nurgle, still kind of useless.
yeah, that is pretty much non-existent good choice in the old codex compared to the new one. I don't want to say that it's getting better as a whole in sixth edition, but it's improving in the codexes that needed it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's because of the way that I look at fast attack. If it's not doing the damage, I don't want it. It's really one of those units that I'm gonna be bringing. It's gonna be going ahead of my army. It's gonna be the first target that my enemy can shoot at. Like it's either gonna do damage or it's just gonna be worthless. And I know there's an argument there of, well, they shot at your fast attack slot, so it keeps your troops alive a little bit longer. It drew the fire, true, but I want more from my units than just being a fire magnet. Instead of
Yeah,
taking that fast attack slot, I could have just brought another troop slot, and then when it died, I could have just been like, oh well, that was my throwaway troop unit,
yeah,
which I think I would rather have. Being a Space Wolf player myself, there's only one fast attack unit that really I feel is competitive, and that would be the Thunderwolf cavalry. And I don't think anyone's going to deny that that's not an amazing unit. Second, I would probably go Skyclaws, maybe, because they are like Blood Claws, but they have that extra jump capability. But at the same time, they are only jump infantry. They're only basically flying scouts, but they do have the extra attack on the charge. But when I kind of look at how much damage I can deal for the points, that's really what I want to look at when I'm going with fast attack. Would you be the same?
yeah. Like I was gonna say before, is I don't just see them as a throwaway unit. I find that it's better to put a purpose behind them instead of just taking them just to throw away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
definitely.
fast attack is a bit more expensive than your troop choice as well. So you don't want to go throwing like a 200-point unit away just because it kept your 100-point troops alive one turn longer.
Yeah, definitely. Um, just a fun exercise here. When you think fast attack, what's the first thing that kind of pops into your mind?
Probably assault marines.
See, for some reason, every time I think fast attack, when we're gonna do fast attack tactics, I was like, Tau Piranha. Just for some reason, that was what popped into my head. Um, Probably followed by the assault marines. I think that's kind of like the iconic fast attack choice.
Yeah.
And that's, but the funny thing is about the assault marines, I don't really see them apart from in Blood Angels, and Blood Angels has them as troop.
Yeah.
But like assault marines are kind of like that useless fast attack unit. If you just
Yeah.
gotta get marines, you might as well just get marine second score on objectives in a rhino.
Yeah. I kind of see that. Like, as if you want assault marines, just play Blood Angels because then they're your troop as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, like you knew how I played in 5th edition with my Dark Elder, and it was all about why would I get this elite or why would I get this fast attack unit if I can make my troops do the same job? Like
Yeah.
I would just have warriors and witches and raiders. They're going fast, they're scoring objectives, they're killing guys. Why would I bother with the Trueborns, whatever they're called? Why would I bother with the blood brides and all that when I can just get the same damage output from my troop? And I think that's really what you got to balance it out. I would rather have for my Space Wolves, I would rather have a drop pod with some Grey Hunters and some Melter Guns that first turn they're dropping behind the enemy lines. They're probably going to die. There's no doubt that they're probably going to die. But it's a 10-man unit of Space Marines that can score if they are kept alive. That's going to draw fire as well, and possibly blow up a tank. That I would rather take that than take a unit of like Skyclaws or something like that.
Yeah. I do see fast attack as being like it's either you do or you don't with codexes. Like some codexes, it's like, yeah, you're gonna bring that. Other codexes, you're like, well, there's a lot of other things that are better in this codex. Like
Yeah.
Dark Elder and like Space Wolves are probably like prime examples of that.
Yeah. Let's kind of look at it. I mean, this is the big thing. 6th edition's here. Flyers. A lot of flyers are found in the fast attack. In fact, probably most of them are found in fast attack. A couple of them are a heavy support choice, but I mean, let's look at that. We're talking about, fast attack is kind of the elephant in the room. Is the flyer. It's kind of a topic that we could really spend half an hour talking about the flyer just on its own. Just initial flyer thoughts for yourself?
They're deadly if you use them right.
Hmm.
Like, a lot of people just spam them and just, it's just the numbers of them. But if you just have one and you have like a really like good purpose for it, like just give it like tank hunting or like taking on like infantry and stuff like that. You can deal serious damage with that instead of just having to spam them all and then just, you know, you're bound to kill something just by the amount of shots you'll deal.
Yeah. See, my thought with fast attack flyers or flyers in general is, i- as I said before, my way of looking at fast attack is I want to get a high amount of damage for the points that I put into them, and there's really only a couple flyers that can do that. You're looking at the Helldrake, obviously, with a Bale Flamer. No one's gonna deny that that thing is deadly. That's gonna kill 2 units, probably minimum in a game. Then you've got the Necron flyers and even the Storm Raven.
Talon, Raven.
Yeah, the big one. It's
Yeah,
got the plasmas, it's got all those guns. But then you look at all the other ones, and you look at the Tau one. You know, it's got AP4 shots. So unless you're majority of the time you're gonna be versing Space Marines, that's not gonna be really killing much. You look at the other ones like the Storm Talons, the Nephilim jet fighters, and all that. They're gonna get these low AP shots, but when they get their low AP shots, they're coming in at low numbers. So you're gonna kill maybe, you know, 2, 3 Marines. When you come in looking to a squad of 10, that's not much. I think you're right in the sense that the best way to use a flyer is to bring it with a purpose. You can spam flyers, but then unless you're spamming maybe like the Helldrake or Necron flyers, maybe that's the two that work well spamming. But other than that, if you come up against someone that does have power armor and you've spammed Tau flyers, it's gonna be horrible for you.
yeah.
You
It's
put
just a
all,
numbers game.
you put all these points into this, AP4 flying machine, uh, and I mean I versed a Tau flyer in a tournament last weekend. I didn't even bother with it. I think I fired at it once because it was either fire at a Tau flyer or fire at a squad of 20 plague bearers, um, with a herald. So that's Nurgle with Feel No Pain or a flyer. It was like I'm damned if I shoot at one, I'm damned if I shoot at the other one. So I took my
Yeah,
15 heavy bolter shots and I put them into the Tau flyer. Doubles tournament, by the way. That's why it was a Tau with demons. But and I actually got a hull point taken off it. But I really didn't need to bother because it was doing nothing to me. It was interesting, and I and
yeah.
I actually found that with most flyers I versed, if I just ignored them, they would do a little bit of damage and fly away.
Yeah, that's what we've always kind of said though, is that most of the time you can just ignore it because it's not doing that much. But then
Hmm.
that comes back to like people that are bringing them. I see flyers as people are bringing them just for the fact of having it,
Hmm.
not putting a purpose behind it as such.
No, I,
Like,
I definitely felt that with the tournament that I went to. It was a small 500 point each tournament, so you had 500 points and you got matched up with a partner, they had 500 points. And I feel like people were only bringing flyers because they're like, hey, small 500 point tournament, not many people are going to have anti-air, let's bring a flyer. And there was a lot of flyers around. At the same time, not really much of them did anything. A lot of them died, which was kind of surprising. Uh, there was one of the missions that the middle objective was a Skyfire Nexus, so you could actually just bring anything up. But at that time, I wasn't even versing a flyer. But I really felt like the flyers didn't do a lot apart from the Helldrake, and I versed the Helldrake in the final round, and it took out all my heavy bolter log fangs. Yeah, you wiped out 6 guys. It was only 115 points, and then it came around and wiped out like 8 Tau. That's all it did. Like when I look back in my head, when I initially look back at that game, I think, holy crap, that Heldrake took out a lot. When I actually think about what it took out, it was only, you know, 12 guys, not even 200 points, so it probably didn't even make its points back. And then my partner put 2 Seeker missiles in its back and took it down. We lost that game, but you know, your Heldrake didn't do much. It really wasn't. It wasn't the Heldrake that we had problems with. It was the massed cultists that were on all the objectives that we couldn't get off objectives.
See that it would have barely made its points back because Heldrake's 170.
Yeah, it would have. That's really all it killed was probably it killed 7 Tower Fire Warriors and 6 Long Fangs. It probably wouldn't have even made its points back.
See, when you said that you saw all the flyers and they didn't really do much, it doesn't really surprise me in that like small points tournament because it's like 1,000 points on 1,000 points, but they're 2 separate 500-point armies, so you're not going to see all that much, really.
Well, that's it, because a lot of these flyers they're either anti-flyer or they're a unit that you take to take on another unit. That they have specific jobs, and if you're taking them in that small points game, and that job doesn't show itself, what's that flyer gonna do? You know, like the Tau flyer is either good at taking on other flyers or good at dropping bombs on, AP armor 4 guys. Well, we didn't have a flyer, and we didn't have any AP4 like Horde guys. In fact, I don't even think it was the bomber, so it couldn't have even done that. We didn't have a flyer, so it really didn't do anything. It shot a little bit, took out a guy here and there, didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But let's kind of bring it back to fast attack now, and let's look at flyers. We say that fast attack is a harassment unit. It's a unit that you want to get your damage output with before you die. Is a flyer a good choice at a fast attack slot?
I'd say yes and no. Like it definitely does harass and stuff like that, but at the same time, it comes back to the purpose of it. Like you said, some of them are pretty much just kitted out to be anti-flyer. So, like, and you can never guarantee that your opponent's going to be bringing another flyer.
Mm-hmm.
So like you waste like, I don't know, 200 points on your flyer to take on their flyer, which they don't end up bringing, and then it's kind of a wasted unit.
Yeah, I would say that it is a good choice as a fast attack slot, mostly because it does have that role where it does fill a job. It will have a specific job on the day, and I feel like it's so unique to the fast attack slot, you know, possibly heavy, like we said before, but it's so unique to that slot that it kind of becomes one of those fast attack slots that you take because you can't get that anywhere else. Like, I can get most of the other fast attack slots I can get somewhere else in my codex. If I want just straight up killing, I can go to my elite slots. You know, I can go to my heavy slots and just get something to straight up kill. I can probably get something that can do a better job at killing in my elites and my heavy choices, but I can't get a flyer anywhere else, and that would be the reason why I would say it would be a good fast attack option, just because you're not going to get a flyer anywhere else apart from maybe your heavy support. And that's really it for me when I think about flyers. You know, they're good, but they're not the be all end all of the game, and I think that's what people have to realize.
Yeah. Another, just what we're still on flyers, is it'd kind of be cool if they added their own slot to it, in a way. But then at the same time, it just
Kind of like fortifications. You know, you can have like one flyer per army.
yeah, or even two flyers, like
Hmm.
just just limit it a different way because they really are a thing on their own, and every codex is coming to get one.
Yeah.
But but then that's what it comes down to. It's do you take the flyer or do you take like bikes or like your assault marines or
Hmm.
like trying to think what other fast attacks they're alright. I know gargoyles
Well, let's
for
let's kind of go into the next thing we want to talk about. Flyers. Now that you're kind of mentioning different flying, I mean, fast attack options. Um, Best fast attack options that you can think of.
flies is probably number one without a doubt.
So you is like a specific flyer.
Specific flyer, uh,
You want to
I'd
say
want
the
to say
Heldrake.
I do, but at the same time, I I think I'm gonna go with the Storm Raven just because you have like you can turn that into anything you wanted really. You've got like your assault cannons for your infantry. You got las cannons if you want an anti-flyer, and
Or
then you've got
anti-tank.
your yeah or anti-tank, and you've got the multi-melter on the front or the heavy bolter, or I think it comes with another one. I'm not
You can
can't
make it into
remember.
a. You can make. Yeah, it does. It comes with some sort of missile launcher, cyclone missile launcher, I think, at the
Yeah,
front. Yeah, you can make it
and
into a
then
transport too.
yeah, it's just it's like a Lego kit flyer kind of thing.
Hmm.
You can just make it what you want. So yeah, I reckon Storm Raven's probably
So top one
hands down
fast attack
flyer.
slot would be for you, the Storm Raven.
Yeah,
Anything else? Fast attack options?
fast attack. Um, I want to say. Let me just double check before I say it, so I don't make an ass of myself. Yeah, Spawn,
Chaos Spawn, yeah, that's one that
Chaos
we've
Spawn.
kind of talked about. I've wrote articles about on the blog. We've talked about in the top five for Chaos. We've talked about it on the Hammer before. We've talked about it on Battle Bros before. Chaos Spawn are amazing.
Yeah, they're like they'd probably be if you took away flies. I would say they're probably number one or number two.
So if you don't already know why they're amazing, go to the Dice Troop blog. Go to archives and scroll down until you see a picture of Spawn and read that article. Uh,
Yeah,
I think I explained it pretty well. See, for me, I want to say number one fast attack would probably be. I want to say something like a Heldrake because it's right now it's so prominent in games. So, but then I look at it and I'm like, well, I want it to be this like harassment unit. You know, I want it to be a threat without costing me much points. I want it to do a lot of damage for not a lot of points. And what comes to mind is actually Necron Scarabs. Uh,
oh yeah,
they can shred a tank, and they cost you a few points per Scarab base, and that is really my ideal fast attack. Is these small units that I don't have to pay much for, but they're a huge threat, and that's kind of how I like my fast attack. Low on points, high on damage output, and a big threat. That way if someone does spend a lot of shooting on them, I think that's the only case that I'm ever gonna be like, well, at least you shot them and not my troop because they didn't cost me much. But if they're costing me more than my troop, fuck, take out my troop. Let me do something with my fast attack. So
yeah,
definitely Scarabs. I want to say because I'm a space player, I want to say Thunderbolts Cavalry. Um, just because for three guys, for a squad of three, you can do a lot of damage. But at the same point, people know they do a lot of damage, and you're looking at maybe a 200 plus point squad that can die before it gets into combat, and that's kind of why I would rate that down. Um, I can't really think of a lot of fast attack slots. Like land speeders are a good one as well. You can put two multi melters on them. You can put a flamer and a multi melter on them, and they're only running you, 50 points, maybe a little bit over 50 points, uh, and the damage that they can do, it's one of those things. Small points, high damage output. You pop a Land Raider, you've like tripled your points, more than that, you know. And it's one of those ones that you can put a lot of fire into it and kill it, but it was only 50 points. It was only 75 points. So anything like that, I like for my fast attack slots.
Yeah, that's probably like the Scarabs is probably a good example of like something that your opponent would just look at and go, "Oh, they're probably not going to do that much damage," just because of the
Mhm.
like sometimes people just go off the models. If it's a big scary model,
Yeah.
or it's a model that's been talked about a lot, whereas I haven't really seen Scarabs that much. There was like a hype of them a while ago, and then
When the
like the
Necrons
fly.
came out, it was all like, scarab farms, and we gotta do stuff with scarabs, and
Yeah, and then the flies came out, and that kind of swept them under the rug. But yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a prime example of like a, a f- a good fast attack unit because the opponent will see them and kind of just like shrug it off, and then you hit his Land Raider with that, and that's almost wiped it out.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
remember a game that we played in fifth edition when the Necrons had just came out, and you wiped out a Valkyrie in one turn or two turns, I think.
Yeah. And then I think I went to your Lehman Ross and took that down too. And
Yeah,
then and they I think that was when you didn't know what scarabs could do. And then ever
yeah,
since then it's like you got to kill those guys or at least run away from them.
yeah. I think that was the first game against Necrons when we both realized how
Mhm.
deadly Scarabs are.
Yeah, that crazy. But I think to kind of summarize everything and kind of the points that we've kind of been making is that you really want your fast attack choices to either be your number one goal is would be damage output. You got to remember that these units are going to be ahead of your army, so they're going to be the first ones taking fire. You don't want to have a 300 point unit with all these melter guns and plasma guns and stuff going, oh, I'm going to do all this damage, and then just get wiped out. So you have to look at damage output to how much damage you can take, how long you're going to stay alive. Uh, cheap, you want to look at for cheaper units that can do the most amount of damage, or the most amount of threat, at least. Things like we mentioned, Scarab Swarms, Land Speeders. Um, you want to use them as that harassment unit. We talked about flyers, uh, and we talked about how they had specific roles that you really want to know that role before you start spamming flyers. I even don't spam flyers; they don't need to be spammed, and you'll find that they do a lot of damage as a single guy because they have that specific job. So you throw them out with a specific job, they'll do a lot of damage because they thrive at that job. But then when you spam them and you realize, well, they're not doing as much damage, well, that's because you have three guys now all doing the same job. It's pretty simple, really.
Just
Any
to quickly,
Yeah, I was gonna say any remaining thoughts on fast attack.
yeah, just quickly to add on to the fly, like spamming flies as well,
Sure.
is you're going to run out of points a lot quicker to buy upgrades for them. So they're going to be, not as good as one or two even,
Mhm.
because you're spending the extra points instead of on like upgrades to like assault cannon or something like that.
Yeah.
You're spending it on the other fly that you're getting instead. So you're just going to have base flyers running around, not being able to do as much
Mhm.
because they don't have the weapons to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, fast attack as a whole, you really need to find a purpose for that unit,
Yeah.
whether it be just to take fire, which if you're going to do that, like you said, you want a cheapest
Yeah.
chips unit.
That's what I think. Yeah, fast attack. You want cheap. Yeah, cheap units
Yeah.
that have a lot of threat. This is, my opponent would do this in the tournament. I mean, my partner did this in the tournament that we played. He had a Tau Piranha, and he would go 6 inches and then deploy his drones. And I thought that's kind of weird. Like, I've never seen anyone deploy drones. He would say to me, "Oh, it's an harassment unit," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? It's 2 drones. It's like 4 shots at 18 inches." But it actually was an amazing unit because they would be like, okay, we need to take down that piranha. It's got the Seeker missiles. Meanwhile, these 2 little drones are flying around the table doing a wound here and there, and it's pinning. So they take out a wound, leadership test. If you fail, you're pinned from this unit of 2 little drones just flying around. And it was just, they never died because no one focused on them, but they would kill maybe a model a turn. That is, in my opinion, 2 drones. I don't know the points on 2 drones, but if they can kill a model a turn and cause pinning every turn to a unit, that's an amazing unit, if you ask me. And you can just take squads drones, I think, or you used to be able to.
I think the piranhas with the drones is even better. 'Cause you drop them off and then
And then you've still
you got
yeah.
yeah,
Now
and
you're
you can
making
harass
2
them
units.
2 things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything you'd like to say before we go? Any stories about fast attack? Anything? We've kind of done our little summary. Fly is good. Make sure you have a job. Fast attack, cheap, threat, lots of damage. Just tidbits.
Uh, I don't know. I just yeah, the one that I keep repeating is just make sure that it's got a purpose. Really, like even if you're going to spend big points on something, you want to make sure that they're going to get their points back from that. There's no point in going and wasting like 300 points on like a big melter squad, like fast attack melter squad. If you're just going to pop a rhino and then get attacked by the guys that are inside it.
Okay, so I think we're good. So that was
Yep.
Tactics with Toxic, featuring Savage. Send us some messages about what you want to hear from us. Maybe we'll do like a lead or heavy support or something like that. Something easy, but if you want something a bit more in depth, a bit more specific to your army, we can do that. I don't know when we'll do it, but now that we've got the first tactics video out there, we should be able to get some more going soon. So thanks for watching. I've been Toxic, with these being Savage.
Peace out.
Catch you later.